What is going on, Misfit Nation? Welcome back to another episode of the Misfit Wrestling Podcast. I'm your host, Matt the Misfit, for your Monday Night Raw review for August the 7th, 2023. This is the post-SummerSlam edition of Monday Night Raw, a.k.a. the actual, real Raw after WrestleMania, because it feels like Triple H found the script that he had planned for the Raw after WrestleMania and produced one of the best Raws in a very long time. Because I think, from what I've been told, this Raw had no Vince McMahon involvement with it. And you can tell the difference between a Vince McMahon produced show and a Triple H produced show, and this is what you get. When Vince is not breathing down your neck, this is the type of show you get. But we'll talk about that, and also we will give you some unfortunate news that we found out earlier in the day about Sonya Deville. We'll talk about that and much, much more. If you hit that like button on the youtube.com/@MisfitWrestlingPodcast, hit that subscribe button, do that comment down below. I probably already mentioned the whole liking of the button. On there, you can go to the social medias. Twitter @MisfitPodcastTV. On Instagram and Threads, Misfit Wrestling Pod. You can also find the other audio outlets of the show: Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Google Podcast, Stitcher, Audible, Pandora. I think I've put it on another platform. I don't remember what it's called. You could Google Misfit Wrestling Podcast if you want to. That's all well and good there. Let's talk about Sonya Deville here. TMZ broke a story earlier today. Unfortunate story that is about Sonya Deville. She will be out indefinitely. Come to find out, she tore her ACL last Friday, not this past Friday, but the Friday before that, in a match where her and Chelsea Green, I don't know if she defended the tag titles, but her and Chelsea Green, they wrestled Charlotte and Bianca Belair, and unfortunately in that match, she tore her ACL. TMZ reported this unfortunate news prior to Raw, which was within both confirmed and corroborated with Fightful and PW Insider. It's those tag titles are cursed, man. Just get rid of them. It seems like, and this has been happening. The titles have been cursed ever since they started. I mean, outside of Kairi Sane, who outside the Kabuki Warriors, Kairi and Asuka. We'll talk about Kairi in a little bit too, because I got some news on her too. Outside of that team, and maybe Nikki Cross and Alexa Bliss, everyone else is getting injured with these tag titles here. And it's before that, like, Damage Control. I don't remember which reign it happened in. Might have been the second one. They win the tag titles. Dakota Kai, and we find out, gets injured. Not when she torn her ACL or nothing like that, but before that, when she was dealing with that minor injury that she had, the minor injury that took her out for a couple of weeks. And I guess they had to nick something they were going to plan with her, and it didn't happen. They also had Liv Morgan. Her title run was cut short because of her shoulder. Aaliyah, same thing. Ronda was injured prior to possibly winning the tag titles. I don't know about that. But now she's gone. We'll talk about her whole deal later. And now we got Sonya Deville, who's out with injury. At this point, just throw them in the trash. Throw those tag titles in the trash. They're useless. And again, they're just useless, in my opinion. Kairi Sane. Let's talk a little bit of Kairi Sane here. She had a press conference earlier this morning. She spoke a little bit about what she's going to do. She announced today that after her 2 dates on for Sendai Girls, and there was another one, and All Japan Pro Wrestling, which is on September the 8th. She announced that she's going to be taking a quote unquote indefinite hiatus, which is code for I'm going back to WWE. She said this when asked about a WWE return. She said, "I would like to refrain from mentioning that specifically. I'm already 34 years old, and I want to make sure I'm on my own path." And obviously, people are asking, "Well, why is she talking about going back to WWE?" Well, if you sign a contract with the WWE and you have not returned or joined the company yet, or not joined, but debuted for the company yet, you are not allowed to say a fucking thing. When Cody Rhodes returned to WWE last year, I believe his contract was signed. Let me see. When did Cody Rhodes sign with WWE? Let's see. Go. So April 3rd, right? No, not April 3rd. It was March 18th. PW Insider had broken the story. This was last year. That Cody Rhodes had signed with the WWE, and Cody Rhodes was silent through the whole thing because he's not allowed to speak about it until he returned. Until he returned at WrestleMania. I had to keep that whole thing secret. Same thing with the Hardy Boys when they returned at WrestleMania 33. Jeff Hardy, the night before, said, "No, we signed with the Ring of Honor. We are the Ring of Honor Tag Team Champions," and then they lost the Ring of Honor Tag Team titles to the Young Bucks in an excellent ladder match, and then immediately they had a party, a Hardy House party, something other WrestleMania thing, but they weren't there very long because then they had to go to the venue, Camping World Stadium, for WrestleMania, and then they returned to the company. Had to keep silent about that. Bray Wyatt, his return to the company was kept silent. He was not allowed to speak about it. He barely talked on social media. But again, my point is he kept quiet about it. The people who were rehired by Triple H, like a Karrion Kross, even though the reports have come out, his return and Dexter Lumis and all that stuff, those reports did come out, but they didn't say anything about it. Who else? Johnny Gargano said nothing about his WWE return. So Kairi Sane, if she's re-signed with the company, because it seems like she is, she cannot say a thing about it until she shows up hitting insane elbows on the show on SmackDown here. But speaking of Kairi Sane, this is what she had to say about Io Sky winning the WWE Women's Championship. Fun fact about Io Sky before I go into that. She is one of 3 Japanese-born female wrestlers to ever win the WWE Women's Championship. The first 2 obviously being Asuka, and the other one being Bull Nakano. Io Sky right now is the first and only until Kairi comes in and possibly wins the championship. Right now, Io is the only woman in WWE currently to have held the World of Stardom Championship, the WWE World Women's Championship, and the NXT Women's Championship. Also, Io did make she was also on Tokyo Sports' cover. They had a whole thing about her on there. You can go read her whole interview and article about her on the Tokyo Sports stuff. She also is the first and only woman to win, basically outside the NXT UK and the SmackDown Women's Championship, which is now the World Women's Championship. she's won all the titles: the NXT Women's title, the NXT Tag titles, the WWE Tag titles, and the WWE Women's Championship. That's pretty cool there on that front here. But speaking of Io, here is what Io Sky, not Io Sky, Kairi had to say about Io Sky winning the WWE Women's Championship. She said, "There is no player as strong as Miss Io, who single-mindedly grabbed the top. I respect her from the bottom of my heart." Then she said, "When I was in America, I got sick with the coronavirus, so I couldn't practice, but I endured it, and I know it was hard. There was no wrestler as strong as Io Sky, who single-mindedly, like I said, mentioned that part up there. So there is that. So kudos to thing, and it looks like, all that stuff with Io Sky. So that should be a lot of fun here. But let's get into Monday Night Raw here. I don't think I have any other news to go over here, but let's go over to Monday Night Raw here. If you also want to check before I go into the Raw review, the Pile Driver Pulse is up on Spotify and the other audio outlets, excluding obviously excluding the fuck is that damn YouTube. There it is. I can't remember. For some reason that blanked on me. Where we talked about a lot of things. We talked about the whole Lufisto AEW drama there, and my rant that went on about the booking of the women's division, a lot of stuff there. We also talked about the Kairi Sane stuff. We went over some stuff on the G1, the 5-Star Grand Prix. The 5-Star Grand Prix is in its final stages next. I believe it's coming Wednesday. I believe this weekend is the finals of the G1 climax. I believe they've did something with their block. I'll talk about that this weekend. This coming weekend, the finals of the 5-Star Grand Prix, the G1 climax, the 5-Star Grand Prix is continuing. This week we have a big show. I don't think it's this. It's not this one. The one before that is the Stardom event called Stardom X Stardom Osaka Summer Team. On that show, you're going to have Saki Kashima defending the High Speed Championship against Koguma. Mariah May and Miyu Shirakawa are going to defend the Gods of Stardom tag titles against Natsupoi and Soriano. Julia will defend the Strong Championships against Yu. Mayu Iwatani will for the first time since winning the title, will defend the IWGP Women's Championship against Utami Hayashishita, which to me should be the main event of that show. And Tam Nakano will defend her World of Startup Championship against Megan Bain. And we'll talk about all that this coming weekend. I don't know if I'm going to review that show as a whole. I might just keep it for the podcast on Sunday. But also on the podcast on Sunday, we went over the Collision and Rampage reviews, our results for that stuff. And I believe there were some other things we talked about on there. I can't remember. Oh, we talked about Big E. Speaking of Big E, the New Day returned tonight. We'll talk about all that. But first, let's open the show with Cody Rhodes, who had a really good match with Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam. Got the full endorsement. We found out that Brock Lesnar, the whole thing with that was unplanned. And Brock Lesnar both got... Cody got endorsements from both Brock Lesnar and Seth Rollins, not Seth Rollins, and John Cena, which is kind of funny because I kind of, my favorite Cena SummerSlam match outside of the AJ Styles match and the CM Punk match was the squash match from 2014. Anyway, Cody comes out, asks Minneapolis what they want to talk about. Then he says he thinks they should talk about one of Minnesota's own, Brock Lesnar. Says that he had the privilege, the honor, and misery of standing across the ring from Brock Lesnar and surviving him. Says that he could never have imagined Lesnar shaking his head following the conclusion of their match and recounts the conversation with his mother earlier today about the whole thing with Lesnar. He recalls his mother telling him that Lesnar acknowledged him. Little dig there at the tribal chief Roman Reigns. Says that he feels like he could beat anyone in the world following the following SummerSlam. Seth Rollins comes out. He makes his way down to the ring. He welcomes the fans to Monday Night Rollins and says Rhodes was the first man to come to the ring and interrupt him when he discussed the future several weeks back. He's here to return the favor. Says that Rhodes said, and since Rhodes said he feels like he could beat anyone, why not put it to the test? Before Cody can answer, the Judgment Day's music comes out, hits. They come out. Priest, Dominic, and Rhea Ripley appear. No Finn Balor at this very moment in time here, which is very interesting. The Judgment Day had some really good segments throughout the night here, and I'm very intrigued where they're going with that, and I'll talk about that when we get to them. Priest said that Cody and Seth seem to think they run Raw, but they don't. We do. The Judgment Day does run Raw. Priest says Rollins doesn't dictate what happens with the World Heavyweight Championship because the Judgment Day does between his Money in the Bank briefcases and the titles Rhea and Dominic both hold. He tells Cody that even though he's done with Lesnar, he's not done with Dominic, and which is very odd because he beat him cleanly at Money in the Bank anyway. He asked Rhodes what he'll be doing tomorrow while Dominic is defending the North American Championship on NXT against Dragon Lee. Finn Balor then blindsides Seth Rollins from behind, as Priest and Dominic attack Cody. Sami Zayn's music hits. He comes down to the ring to even the odds, clotheslines Priest outside the ring. Cody catches Dominic with a Cody cutter, and Rollins hits Balor with the curb stop in these bright ass, big ass, bright ass yellow boots, which is fucking hilarious. Judgment Day is sent crashing out to the ring or outside the ring. Rhodes challenges the Judgment Day to a 6-man tag match between himself, Zayn, and Rollins, and Adam Pearce finds out we make that match official. Speaking of Adam Pearce, we go to a video that was I guess filmed early in the day. He's talking to Ricochet, Tommaso Ciampa, Matt Riddle, and Chad Gable. He says that the opportunity for them is a fatal 4-way number 1 contenders match for Gunther's Intercontinental Championship. And then we got this slapper of a main event. Slapper of an open contest. Tommaso Ciampa, Ricochet, Matt Riddle, Chad Gable for the right to face Gunther for the Intercontinental Championship. This match was awesome. Ciampa goes after Gable with Riddle going after Ricochet. The 4 men then take turns. They just keep going at one each other here. Riddle plants Ricochet with a suplex, goes for a pin. Gable breaks the fall up. He plants Riddle face first, but is caught with a reverse DDT by Tommaso Ciampa. Ciampa delivers a forearm to Ricochet, but Ricochet gets up and gets up on his shoulders and lands a pair of double knees. He ascends to the top rope, but Riddle meets him there. Then they do this incredible looking so everyone has like a German position applied on them, and here comes fucking Chad Gable like Superman, pulls the end of it with this giant ass Tower of Doom German suplex that I've never seen in my entire life. Looked impressive as all hell. Chad Gable is incredible. Gunther is watching on a monitor backstage. Chad Gable clinches in the ankle lock on Tommaso Ciampa, but Ciampa makes it to the bottom rope to break the hold, which is odd because it's a 4-way. There's really no rules, but that's neither here or there. Gable pulls him back to the center of the ring, but Riddle breaks things up and delivers a ripcord knee, lands another one on Ciampa, then sits him up top rope, joins him up there. He lands a superplex. Ricochet and Gable then hit a moonsault and a diving headbutt on Ciampa and Riddle respectively. But Ciampa and Riddle managed to pin them. Ricochet and Gable kick out. It was a simultaneously pin that didn't go very well here. All four men exchange right hands, forearms, chops, kicks, whatever you name it here. Ciampa dumps Riddle on the apron. Gable is dumped to the outside. Riddle lands a floating bro over the top rope. Gable catches him with a DDT off the ropes. Gets back into the ring. Ricochet looks to go flying, but Ciampa avoids the maneuver with a knee and follows it up with a backstabber. Riddle hits Ciampa with the bro Derek, then exchange forearms, chops with Gable. Gable looks for a suplex on Riddle, but Ricochet intercepts and plants Riddle with some kind of move here. Chad Gable looks for a German suplex on Ricochet, but Ciampa prevents him from doing so. Gable then manages to deliver a beautiful German suplex onto Tommaso Ciampa for the win, and Chad Gable gets the win in his hometown and is now the number one contender for the Intercontinental Championship. This was awesome. And I enjoyed the hell out of this match. You could tell this was a Triple H NXT match here because Triple H booked his four favorites to wrestle it out in an awesome match. After the match, Chad Gable flaps around the ring with his son, so that was a nice moment there. Backstage, then we had Cody Rhodes arguing with Seth Rollins. Sami Zayn intervenes and says, while he knows that Rollins and Rhodes have a storied history with one another, they have to band together to take down the Judgment Day in the main event tonight. He asks Rhodes, Cody, and Rollins if they can do that, and they both say they're cool with one another. Zayn notes that it doesn't feel cool after both men walk off. Again, great segments. There was a story being told throughout the night with this whole Cody, Rollins, Zayn, Nakamura. We'll get to him too because he's next in a match and with Judgment Day. Nakamura defeated Bronson Reed in a really good match. I thought this was really, really fun. Reed led the shoulder tackle onto Nakamura after mocking him. Nakamura delivers a series of knees to the midsection of Bronson Reed, then stops him on his spine. He runs the ropes, but Reed catches him with the back elbow and a headbutt, and then follows up with several shoulders to the midsection of Shinsuke Nakamura, then lands a vicious forearm strike. That is then followed up by an elbow to Nakamura's spine. He gets Nakamura up on his shoulders, but Nakamura escapes, delivering a sliding knee to Bronson Reed. He delivers a kick to the head, then follows it up with a baseball slide onto Reed on the outside. And they get back into the ring. Bronson Reed looks for a power slam. Nakamura escapes and runs the ropes, but he ends up running right into Bronson Reed. Reed delivers delivers an elbow drop and then sends Nakamura crashing to the outside. Nakamura delivers a big boot to Reed, follows it up with a knee off the apron. Then the pair go back and forth with forearms before Nakamura gains the upper hand with a series of kicks. He ascends the top, goes flying. Bronson Reed intercepts, plants him with a power slam, goes up follows it up with a power bomb. Goes for the pin. Nakamura kicks out. Reed catches him with a clothesline, sends to the top rope, looking for the tsunami splash. Nakamura catches him with a knee to the back of the head, then follows up with the Kinshasa for the win. Shinsuke Nakamura gets the win clean over Bronson Reed in a great match. I thought this was a really good match. Probably my third favorite match of the night. And I'll give you my favorite matches of the night and all that stuff after the end of the review here. We've seen a recap of what happened at last week with Rhea, Raquel, and Liv Morgan. We are find out in the trainer's room, Raquel Rodriguez is being checked on by the medical staff here following her attack on on Rhea Ripley, or from Rhea Ripley a few weeks ago. The doctor says she's still unable to clear her for in-ring competition. And right now, in the same segment, we've seen the return of Candice LeRae and Indi Hartwell, and I can't wait to talk about that because this is what I've been waiting for months here regarding Rhea Ripley and her championship run, and we'll talk about that when we get there. Then we got Becky Lynch coming down to the ring. She obviously was not very happy this past weekend being left off the SummerSlam card here. She actually joked about the Lemonade stuff, which we'll talk about that during the match that followed this year. Becky Lynch says, the man has come around to Minneapolis. Minneapolis, by the way, if you don't know, is going to be the home for WrestleMania 40 next year. No, not next year. No. That's Philadelphia. It's the rumored WrestleMania 41 location is Minneapolis. I don't know why I thought. I don't know where that came from. Oh my God, that came out of nowhere here. Anyways, then she says, is close to the end for the Becky Lynch stuff here with Trish Stratus. She says she's been scratching, clawing, and overcoming obstacles for the past few months, and while she is tired and weary, she finally puts an end to her issues with Trish Stratus next week. She said there will be a match between the greatest of the last generation and the greatest of the current generation without any interference from Zoey Stark. And here comes Zoey Stark. She appears. She says Lynch is obsessed with Trish Stratus. Both Trish and herself have beaten her. She's talking about beating Becky, of course. She says Becky is scared of her. And Becky made sure that she is banned from ringside because she's scared. Becky then responds and saying, Zoey, you're gifted, but that's also her downfall because she's too good to be for her own well-being and gets handed everything. She says Trish is dragging her around, and Stark then defends herself. She calls herself amazing, and she says Becky is jealous. She says Trish picked her because as her second in command because she is the fastest rising star out there. Shayna Baszler music hits, and she comes out in the ring, and she looks like she went through hell. She came out with an arm brace on. She may have hurt something. I don't know. I heard Sean Ross Sapp talking about it on their Fight review. I don't remember exactly what he said here, but she also has a visible bruise on her right eye, which, if I'm looking at it, it's her right eye, I believe. Looking at it, it's on my left, but it is the right eye. Shayna comes out. Becky says, Shayna, you look horrible. Like, what happened, basically? Baszler tells Becky that she should see what Ronda Rousey looks like, but that's not going to happen because, I'm not only the first woman to make Ronda Rousey submit, but I'm also the one who drove her out of the WWE. Got loud, thank you, not loud chant, thank you, Shayna chants, but you could hear thank you, Shayna chants, which got me popping there. She says, although she wasn't invited to Becky and Zoe's little party, she couldn't not take notice when Zoey called herself the baddest. Zoey says Baszler is the baddest punching bag of all time, and then says that she will send her packing like Ronda Rousey. Becky then suggests a match between Baszler and Zoey Stark, and calls for Adam Pearce to make it official, which Adam Pearce does. Then we come back to go to commercial break, and then we come back to one of my other favorite things on the show here. We see Finn Balor and JD McDonagh chatting out. JD McDonagh, who has been missing for several months now, because Vince McMahon was in charge here. Vince McMahon is on medical hiatus, and all of a sudden, Triple H is writing these shows again, and you see this. This is the result here. So, JD McDonagh is chatting with Finn Balor. Damien Priest walks in and asks Balor to talk to Balor alone. Balor says he can say anything he wants. He has to say to me. He can say it to JD. Priest confronts Balor about not sticking to the plan at SummerSlam. Balor then says that he decided to do the same thing tonight. But also he mentioned, well, you didn't stick to the plan that we originally planned out, which was Plan A, because I kept hearing Balor talk about Plan A during his match with Finn Balor, or not his match with Rollins at SummerSlam. The pair get into a heated confrontation. Rhea Ripley breaks things up and says they're not doing this again. Says you both need to start acting more like men than you are doing right now. Because you both are acting like children. Start growing up and act like fucking men. Basically, is what she said. Says they need to get on the same page, and the pair agree. JD McDonagh shines in and says, this may not be my place to speak, but I think that briefcase is getting in the way of things. And just get rid of it. Which I'm like, oh, and that seemed to upset Priest quite a bit. It didn't bother Finn Balor very much because he smiled about it, but that upset Priest a bit, and I'm like, oh, this is getting good. Shayna Baszler defeated Zoey Stark. This was all right. Nothing too fancy here. Shayna delivers a shoulder tackle and a step-up knee following she follows it up with a German suplex. Zoey fires back with some kicks to the head, goes for a pin. Baszler kicks out. Zoey Stark then lands a kick to her head again. Then goes up flying to the top ropes. Wants to try to fly off the top rope, but Baszler intercepts before the action spills to the outside. And she goes flying off the top rope. The pair get back into the ring, and Baszler plants Zark with the world's baddest slam, the aka Piper's Pit, which is fucking great. I love that she hit Ronda's finishing maneuver, or one of Ronda's finishing maneuvers, for the win. What I liked about this, what I thought was funny about this is at ringside, what was it she said? She said something about the lemonade she was drinking was like bitter or something. And Wade Barrett was like, it's not that bitter. Basically, it's sort of taking shots at the whole stuff with the whole Becky Triple H thing. She even did the Triple H spit with the lemonade, which I thought was pretty funny here. More of this interesting stuff that happened with the whole Judgment Day and all this stuff. Shinsuke Nakamura is about to get interviewed backstage. He's saying things like, I'm getting ready to do my own path. I'm tired of people getting into my business. And before he can keep finishing his interview, he hears a noise in the background here. JD McDonagh is attacking Sami Zayn. And Sami Zayn had this nasty ass golf ball on his elbow. It looked disgusting as all hell. Come to find out, it's like a bursa sac pain thing. According to Taz on Twitter, he said that it's a common thing for wrestlers to get. To me, it looked like something I saw with John Cena when he had the match he had with Daniel Bryan, and he had the golf ball size elbow problem there. So there's that. We had a backstage segment that led to a match between Otis and Ludwig Kaiser. Maxine Dupree tried to get flirted with Ludwig Kaiser and made fun of Otis. Otis doesn't get the win here. Ludwig Kaiser gets the win here because Gunther got involved and delivers a boot to the head of Otis. Referee didn't see it, and Kaiser delivers his finisher for the win. After the match, Imperium continues to beat down Otis, but Chad Gable runs down to make the save, and he stares on Gunther. They'll be setting that match up for probably Payback, maybe. Then we go backstage. There's some more of this stuff here. Cody Rhodes, Seth Rollins emerge from the medical area and is asked for an update on Sami Zayn. Cody lets Rollins take the interview. Rollins says that Zayn will not be medically cleared to compete in the main event. He says that it'll be a 3-on-2 match, even if possible, a 3-on-1 match, because he knows he doesn't know if he can trust Cody Rhodes. Nakamura then walks in and offers to be Cody and Rollins' teammate, and Rollins agreed, because Rollins said, I've had a lot of respect for you for many, many years, so let's do this. And the best part about this segment here is, as soon as Rollins walks off, the camera, which was I don't know if that was Kevin Dunn or if that was Jeremy Borash who's running I don't know who's running the cameras anymore. Gets a close up on Nakamura's face, and he has a shit-eating grin on his face. I'm like, that is a heel turn we're getting ready to happen here. And it was so good. Oh, I can't wait to talk about that main event here. Early in the night, we seen The Miz try to get photo shoot, and the lady that he was talking to said that you have to wait in line. And he's like, why do I wait in line for it? And it's LA Knight. Originally I was going to be like, isn't he on SmackDown though? But then I'm at the point where I'm no longer going to complain about the draft, because it doesn't matter here. But this was actually a really good segment here, because The Miz comes out, says he asked if he's missed something, and questions where his respect is. He says he came to the show tonight to only find LA Knight taking his time for his photo shoot. He said he was taught respect when he first came to WWE, and says that Knight never introduced himself to him before or shook his hand or whatever, and thinks that he basically says he's so tired of all this disrespect. LA Knight comes out here. He says, well, I didn't introduce myself to you, you fucking moron. In the Battle Royal. Yeah, that's what he said. Apparently that wasn't enough. He says he formally introduced himself, and offers to shake his hand to The Miz. The Miz refuses to take it and says, if you strip away all his charisma, then you get LA Knight. The Miz says, while the fans love LA Knight, the Miz, sees them as a Attitude Era cosplayer that's in his ring. Knight says he has no problem with The Miz, but he doesn't want to make these things personal. Miz said he takes his career extremely personal, and says that he has made himself indestructible for over 20 years. Sure, right? Yeah. Asks Knight if what has he done in that time. Knight says that he's been making himself a dangerous man. Says that he's been clawing and scratching while WWE bet on all the wrong horses. He says the only reason Miz got a 20-year head start is because he's safe. He says he knew Miz could be smacked around, and took it while Knight was always told he could never make it. He could never take a chance on him, or whatever it was. He says he is not to be messed with, and will not take crap from anybody. Basically, whatnot here. So they keep going back and forth here. The men are prepared to brawl. Miz strikes first, but rains on some right hands. Looks for the skull crushing finale. LA Knight executes the BFT, and then shakes Miz's hand as the A-lister is still lying on the mat here. So it looks like they're going to do LA Knight versus The Miz. I joked about it earlier, but I'm not that mad about it. But it does look like LA Knight's getting whatever this push is. Though I just move him to Raw if you're going to do that, But I'm not going to harp on it too much because of the brand extension thing here. Next up, we get the Viking Raiders had an interesting video package. They issued an open challenge, and it was answered by the returning Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston. This was fine. This is just to get Kofi and Xavier back on television here. So the Limit Breaker by Woods, followed up by Trouble in Paradise onto Ivar, and the New Day get the win here. Nothing big happened on that here. Then we go to backstage here. Becky Lynch is confronted by Shayna Baszler. It says that basically, I didn't need your help back there. I didn't need you speaking for me, first of all. Now that I got Ronda taken care of, there's a lot of things. There's a lot of scores I need to settle, and you're on the top of that list. So hopefully this means I feel like Becky will actually put over Shayna Baszler this time, because she wanted to put her over at WrestleMania a few years ago, and Vince was like, nah. Vince is not there, my friend, so Becky could go to the trips and be like, yeah, I want to put her over. Anyways. Main event time. Judgment Day heads down to the ring, but before anything happens here, Raquel Rodriguez blindsides Rhea Ripley at ringside, rains down some right hands before officials separate the two. Rhea was able to break free, but more backup arrives in the form of Candice, LeRae, and Indi Hartwell. Ripley tosses Indi and Candice into the barricade, and the pair go right after Rhea before the officials separate all three of these ladies, and Raquel, if you want to point it out, too, four of them, before they went back to commercial break. I like this because what has everybody been complaining about for months now, since Rhea won the championship? She has no challenges. Well, what this did was several things. It actually furthered the story with Raquel and Rhea, which they may just do that match at Payback, but also set up two new challengers for Rhea Ripley, Indi Hartwell. If they want to do that on a Raw, they can do that, and then another pay-per-view match they could do with Candice LeRae. Boom! You've set up more people for Rhea to go out, Rhea to have challenges for, and then when Liv Morgan comes back, you got another one, and then so think about this here. So the next pay-per-view Payback is probably going to be Rhea and Raquel, right? So get through that there. Then you have the show in October, Fastlane. You could do Rhea and Candice there if you want to. That's fine. You got Survivor Series in November. I don't know what they're going to do for Survivor Series. They might do another War Games match. Who knows with that situation there. They don't currently have a pay-per-view scheduled for December, but it's probably going to be like a Saudi show or whatnot there. That's fine. Get the Royal Rumble. You can leave Rhea off the show if you want to on that. On there, you don't have to have her wrestle on that show. Or if you want to, you can do the indie match there at the Royal Rumble, or you can do the Candice match at the Royal Rumble. Or Liv Morgan. Have Liv Morgan come back. You can do that match at the Royal Rumble. You can then get to somehow, if Becky doesn't win the Royal Rumble, you can put Becky in the Elimination Chamber, and she can win the Elimination Chamber and get the match with Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania that way. And whatever they do, maybe Io and Io still the champion by WrestleMania. I would love for Io to be the champion by WrestleMania still. And you can have Io wrestle Asuka, or if I was doing it, I would book Io versus Kairi at WrestleMania. But that's SmackDown. We'll talk about what they're going to try to do with Io for Friday. That's going to stay there though. But like I said, there is now more people in line for Rhea Ripley to face for the championship. It's not just going back to, oh well, we have Natalya. That's it, So I like this. I liked that approach that Triple H has taken with this segment right here. What I also liked is this main event. Shinsuke Nakamura, Cody Rhodes, and Seth freaking Rollins defeated the Judgment Day. The Judgment Day came out together as a unit, but again, there's some problems with the Judgment Day as Damian Priest walks ahead of everybody else. So this match was great here. Despite there being some tension from both sides, both Nakamura and Dominic are the ones who start off the match. Bell rings the two go back and forth with one another. Nakamura delivers a knee to Dominic's throat. Priest pulls him out of the ring before Nakamura can wear him down any further. They go to break. Once they come back, Priest tags and delivers a kick to Nakamura's midsection. Because that, again, Bruno Reed was working on Nakamura's midsection earlier on in the show where Nakamura had his match with Bronson Reed. He wears down Nakamura with a submission, but Nakamura fights back, or fights his way out of it. Priest delivers an elbow to him into the corner, then tags him Balor, tags him Balor back into the match. Balor delivers a stomp, then tags him Dominic. Dominic goes flying into the ring, then tags. They just go back and forth with some tags here. He dumps Rollins, does Balor on the outside. Priest dumps Balor onto the outside, tags in Balor, who drop kicks Rollins to the barricade. Dominic delivers 3 amigos to Seth Rollins. Rollins fires back with the clothesline and reluctance. He doesn't want to tag in Cody. Balor tags in. Cody delivers, but he does it anyways. Balor tags in and Cody delivers a scoop slam for setting up for Crossroads. Balor escapes and Rhodes looks for the Cody cutter. Balor avoids the maneuver and plants Cody with a spine first. Cody hits, but then Cody hits tries to hit a secondary one, second try or whatever. Sets up for Crossroads, but Priest hits Rollins with Money in the Bank briefcase while the referee's, I guess, distracted to believe that the referee clearly saw it. He hands it over to Balor before being blindsided by Sami Zayn. He gets tossed over the announcer's desk, does Damian Priest. Balor looks to hit Cody with the briefcase, but Rollins provides a hand to Cody and super kicks Balor using the briefcase as an extra bit of pain. Then Cody hits the Crossroads to Balor for the win. Excellent main event here. I enjoyed this main event here. After the match, though, is what everybody got talking here. So they're all, trying to get along here. Cody and Rollins, it's a shaky head. They're posing, right? As saying, dude tries to intervene and stuff, whatnot. And then out of nowhere, Nakamura hits Rollins with a Kinshasa and just leaves. And the crowd starts booing on Nakamura. Nakamura officially cements his heel turn. And it looks like we're going into a direction with Shinsuke Nakamura and Seth Rollins for the World Championship. And I'm all fucking for that. That's a match for Payback for the World Championship. So, matches that have already basically been set up for Payback. So now, because Payback is in September. I believe it's in September. Is it? Let me look here. Payback. WWE Payback. 2023. That's, September 2nd. So matches that they've kind of set up here. We have Nakamura and Rollins for the World Championship. They might throw in Cody Rhodes, who knows. Then you got maybe a rematch between Trish and Becky. Rhea and Raquel, obviously. There's that. Whatever they're gonna do with JD McDonagh. Maybe they'll do JD McDonagh versus Damian Priest. Then you have the Uso, Jimmy Uso versus Jey Uso match. You may do a rematch between Io and Bianca. So that's like 6 matches right there but basically set up for Payback. And I love that. I love that they're finally setting up something here based on tonight's show. But overall, I thought this was an excellent episode of Monday Night Raw. So I thought this was great. So I thought this was a great episode of Monday Night Raw. I thought this was the actual right Raw after WrestleMania. Like I said, I jokingly said that Triple H found the script that he used or that he typed up for this show for Raw after WrestleMania and just used it for the Raw after SummerSlam. But we got but that's what I thought about Monday Night Raw. What did you guys think about Monday Night Raw? Let me know in the comment section down below. I've been Matt the Misfit. This has been the Misfit Wrestling Podcast. I will see you guys back here for Wednesday night Dynamite and some other stuff that's going to happen on that show. Setting up more things for All In. They've got Friday Night SmackDown when it comes to what they're going to do with Io Sky now being the WWE Women's Champion. We might find some more news details about Kairi Sane. Then we got Collision on Wednesday. Team FTR versus the House of Black for the Trios Championships. And then we got the finals of the G1 Climax and the upcoming Stardom show, Stardom's Osaka Summer Team show. And all that stuff will be covered. The other stuff will be covered on the Pile Driver Pulse on Sunday. But I've been Matt the Misfit. This has been the Misfit Wrestling Podcast. I will see you guys on Wednesday for Dynamite. Until then, we're out.